Howdy, everybody. Welcome back. Back on the F1. I got a lot of stuff crammed in this video. We got trans tunnel, exhaust, O2 sensors, and a little bit of bugs to work out. So let's get it done. So here's the situation with the floors. I slapped these floorboards in right quick, and then I painted them with this rust reformer from Rust-Oleum. It's pretty good stuff. But I didn't weld it all the way. I just slapped them in there real quick and threw some tack welds in it and painted them real quick so it wouldn't rust. I was in a hurry. I was wanting to get other stuff done, and I just created a little more work than I needed to do. But anyway, I already got this ground down with the wire brush so I can start welding again. Now I got to finish up that tranny tunnel, and don't ask me why I made it like that, square like that. I wanted to do something different other than just a hump, but once again, I made it a little more difficult than it should have been. So anyway, I got to finish up the front there. Yeah, these little holes here. This I just copied off the old floor, and I had these holes in it. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do at the time because I think that was access for the brake master cylinder, the old master cylinder, or maybe the clutch cylinder. I don't know. And those were part of the gas and brake pedal. The rods go down through the floor, so I'll close them up, paint it all with that Rust-Oleum, and I might throw carpet in it. I don't know. We'll see. And that'll probably do it for the floors. Raise up the ass in a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, half inch, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Let's get at it. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim that out with some tin snips and then weld it in. All right, there's the hole. I'm ready to tack it in and take that maggot off, and then I'll just keep tacking all the way around it. Jump back and forth so it doesn't warp the floor, and then I'll jump back and forth in between that and the edges here and get the rest of that. Got some welding blankets so I don't start a fire. So let's do it. Looks good enough to me. It's a little rough, it ain't pretty, but I'll grind it down a little bit, smooth it out. And it is flux core too, so it's even rougher. But yeah, good enough. It's a rat rod, I don't care. Not a show truck. So next I'm going to get on the rest of that tranny tunnel. Let's see how it turns out. I was also thinking these little holes that I need to fill up, that one too. Speedometer cable, or the shifter cable's going through that. Really need a grommet there. But I just buy some body plugs. I mean, why waste the time filling them in with metal and welding them and all that? Just buy some body plugs off Amazon. Done. We got a blowout. Good as new. So I took some measurements, cut out a piece of poster board. I added an inch to this to make up for that lip, and then I bent it on the poster board. So now I'm just going to set it up, hold it there, and then just start trimming little by little on the corners there. And then once I get it trimmed to fit into that lip, I'll transfer all that to a piece of steel I'm going to cut. So there's my template for the top piece on the trans tunnel. I'm going to trace it out on the steel now. And this line here, I'm going to bend that on the brake for the lip, and then there's my hole for the screw to hold it to the floor. So here we go. Okay, I got it cut out. I got my line drawn where I'm going to bend it. But first, I'm going to drill it. It'll be a lot easier drilling it now instead of waiting until after I got that bent. So I'm going to use the old trusty foot on wood method. So there's the top piece. I'm going to go ahead and tack that in a few places and then start filling up these corners here. This is what happens when you overthink things and try to do stuff differently. It takes days and days instead of hours. So yeah, took way too long. I guess it doesn't look all that bad. There are pinholes in it, but I don't care. It's a rat rod. Shifter cable comes through there, and when I routed it in there the first time, I went through, and the end that gets adjusted to the tranny, I went through with that in first. Well, the end that comes up with the shifter has a bracket on it, and I couldn't fit it through there when I went to take this off and finish it up. So there's my little access tab. Yeah, I'll fix that later. But I'm going to pull it off and paint the bottom of it with this rust barrier shit. You can paint right over rust, and it kind of turns into a rubberized coating. Yep. Got it back in. It's painted. Shifter's back in, hooked up, ready to roll. Moving on to the exhaust. Here's how it's ran. Just coming off the headers and pretty much straight back to about the back of the cab, both sides with turn downs. I got clamps on every joint right now. If I do want to put mufflers on it later on, then I'll just take it apart and I won't have to cut anything. Make it easy. So let's fire this thing up, see what it sounds like. So it's obviously not running quite right. I think one of the main reasons is because it's still got the stock tune for the muffler and catalytic converters, full exhaust, and now I got all open straight pipes, headers and straight pipes. That's all I got. So there's no back pressure. So I think it's running pretty lean probably. So I'll have to get in and check that out. And it could be old crappy gas. It's been sitting quite a while. Could be low on gas. I don't know how accurate that gauge is. It's brand new. I haven't had too much experience with it. So I'll put some more fresh gas in it and see if that does anything. Check all the wires, vacuum lines, all that. All the normal stuff. And it's not much quieter. It's exiting past the cab now rather than right directly underneath the cab. So now I can actually breathe in the cab now. But I don't know if I like it or not. It sounds decent. It's still kind of annoying. But I'll drive it like that for a while. See if I change my mind or not. Right off the bat, a couple obvious vacuum leaks. That was where the evap purge valve solenoid was. I didn't have that top capped off. So that was a vacuum leak there. The EGR valve opening in the throttle body. I had this piece of flimsy aluminum with some RTV on it back when I first started up, just to block it off, just to get it running enough to get up on the trailer to bring it down here to the new house. And yeah, that wasn't all that great. So huge leak through that. So I ended up buying a set of block off plates, one for the purge valve solenoid and then one for the EGR valve. Starts and runs a lot better. Imagine that. Well, it's still too loud in the cab. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting older, but it's annoying inside. It sounds pretty good on the outside, but inside it's just too loud, too annoying. So back in the day, I wouldn't have cared, but I got a couple of Thrush turbo mufflers. From what I've heard, I probably should have got the Thrush welded mufflers. A lot of people say they sound better. These might be a little too quiet, but I'm gonna slap them on and see what they sound like. And I'm just clamping them up for now, as I'll probably end up taking them off. It's like 10 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. I better go grab a jacket. Well, let's see what this heap sounds like. Well, that's a huge difference. I don't know why I didn't do this a long time ago. Shop vac, duct tape to the tailpipe. Easy way to see exhaust leaks. Got some soapy water. Obviously got a header leak. And those header bolts are torqued down to spec too, so they're a cheap set of headers off of eBay. I don't remember if they came with the gaskets or not, but they probably did, and they're probably just crappy gaskets. I also have a couple little pinholes where I welded the bung for the O2 sensor. I'll be patching those up. Here's the difference. These are the old ones that were leaking. The cheap ones that came with the headers, and these are the ones straight from GM. They look a little more crushable than these do. These are a little more solid. So that should be a good thing. I also got some better collector gaskets. They're copper. These were the cheap ones that came with the headers too. Same material as the header gaskets, but they were obviously leaking. So I'll throw these on. And after welding up all the joints on the exhaust, it should be pretty well leak free, at least before the O2 sensors, which is critical if you have O2 sensors, because if you got a leak before the sensors, then it's going to throw the readings off, and it's going to probably make it run rich, because it's sucking more oxygen in the pinholes through the exhaust. The O2 sensors I had on there with the scanner, it was like 0.45 volts, which means they're not really doing anything. Both of them were kind of dead. They're brand new, and I don't remember what brand they were. So I went in and switched them out. I went through the wiring and the harness, make sure it was all good, and it was. So I went ahead and bought some GM O2 sensors, a little more expensive, but see if they actually read. These are the actual O2 sensors that the harness recommended that I get, and I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. They're in there, and we'll see if those at least get a reading. So that's what I get for trying to save a few bucks. It was the O2 sensors. Same exact connectors, but just a different style, I guess. So now they're reading. It works. It actually does run a little better. But now my fan's not kicking on for some reason, so I'm going to have to get in there and see what the deal is with that. Probably change the temperature on it. The fan itself works. I hooked it up straight to the battery. It works. Something in the PCM. Let's check it out. So here was my problem with the O2 sensors. This is out of a 2000 Suburban, and it's supposed to use case-grounded O2 sensors. Somehow I ended up with these, which are isolated. So that means it gets the ground from the PCM. The case-grounded O2 sensors that are in it right now have a little metal tab on the side with the ground wire coming off of it. And that's how it gets its ground. So that was my problem. I don't know how I ended up with these, but the connector is exactly the same. Same color, same everything. Plugs right in. So, but they just don't work because they're not grounded. So that was the deal. Well, the fan's still not coming on after programming the PCM. So it's probably a wiring issue. I know the fan itself works. It's probably a ground issue or maybe the relay. So, but I think that's for another video. I hope that helps somebody with something. I hope you got something out of it. So I will see you in the next one.